Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Soul Meets Heart. I'm here with Josh McKenzie, aka CBJ from the Dallas area. What's up, Josh?
What's going on, Hugo, man? Long time, man. Long time.
It has been a long time, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been it's been quite a long time.
I think the last time I saw you was when you cut my hair, which was probably a little over 10 years ago now, I believe.
Yeah, it's funny how time flies, man. I was just looking at the advertisement you did, and I was like, man, that was a long time ago. Because I was trying to do some content and getting ideas
Yeah.
and I ran across the video you did, and I'm like, wow. I see you all the time though. It's just, everybody's lives get kind of busy and things happen. So
Yeah, for
yeah.
sure. Definitely, man. I mean, first off, I want to start off the podcast by doing a quick little meditation. It's
Okay.
just super easy to do. Is just a way to kind of like reset and get ourselves grounded, if you don't mind.
Oh,
We're
not at
going
all.
simple steps. All we're
Okay.
gonna do is we're gonna inhale love, 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 love,
Love,
love,
love,
and
love,
then
love, love.
exhale gratitude. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Hey, that's needed nowadays, man. Seriously.
That's right. That's right. So, Josh, I do something on my podcast where the person that was on before you
Mhm.
actually leaves a message for you without knowing who it's going to be or obviously knowing you. They wanted to leave you a message. And with that being said, this is the message that they decided to leave for you. Okay.
Okay.
I know things can feel heavy sometimes. Like no matter where you turn, there's negativity waiting for you. But even in the middle of all that, you're still here, still pushing, still trying to figure things out. And that counts for more than you probably give yourself credit for. You don't need to have everything sorted out right now. Just keep going, even if it's slow, even if it's messy. Some days just getting through is already a win. And little by little, those small steps start to add up. There's still something ahead for you, something better, and you won't get there by giving up now. So,
Man,
I
I
don't
don't
know
know
if
who
that
that
message
was.
lands.
I don't know who that was, but he literally described, how can I put it? He literally described like not how I'm feeling, but what I may be going through right now. That's crazy.
Wow.
So it's
I didn't
almost like
write that.
reassurance. It's almost like reassurance. Like, like I know being a business owner, man, it's not easy. So, but yeah, he definitely spoke.
Alright, let him cook. Alright, nice. And normally, I never really know if those are gonna land. Hopefully, it lands for someone else too listening in the
Man,
audience, but that was a message just for you, Josh.
man, I tell him I appreciate it, whoever it was.
Uh, Definitely will. I
Yeah.
also wanna say, I just wanna thank you for being an amazing person, an
Hmm.
awesome role model for so many young people, for opening the door for a lot of people. You are always the type of person who's been willing to help and
Oh
to
man.
be that kind of like initiator and helping people believe in themselves. And I don't know if you get this all the time or not, but I just want to say thank you for that. And you're an awesome person for that. And I know I've seen it. I was part of it. So thank you. Thank you for doing what you do,
No,
man.
I appreciate you, man. I don't get it a lot, so it's very much appreciated. It really is, and I want to thank you for helping me, back in the day. Because if it wasn't for you, man, I wouldn't know the direction that where I'm at right now. So it taught me a lot. It allowed me to learn a lot of new things to go forward in a different direction. So I appreciate you for doing that, taking that trip too.
Yeah, man, awesome. Love to hear that. So, for those of you who don't know, a CBJ is a barber in the Dallas area.
Mhm.
So, maybe you can walk us back to beginning. What made you pick up clippers for the first time?
Man, honestly, so before barbering even came up into the picture, I was always an artist. So being an artist, having that ability to draw, and I used to create paintings and still pictures, and my specialty was like black and white art. So it was creating portraits with just like charcoal and black and white pencil, And my mom would always send me and my brother to the barber shop, right? And she didn't like sitting up there. Now we literally stayed down the street, or she would have somebody take us. She would say, "Don't leave until you get your haircut. I don't care how long it takes, right?" And so while I'm sitting there, and keep in mind, I'm what 12, 13 years old at the time. And, I've been drawing and I'm like really studying the barbers and how they're creating these cuts. So, a lot of people think art is just drawing and trying to create. Art is visual, you know what I mean? So I'm observing all of these barbers and I'm like, I can do that, the way they create the fade. So I kind of put two and two together. When you draw a black and white pencil, there's a technique where, you draw from dark to light or light to dark or a medium grade. So it's the same thing with a fade. The only thing is you're using a different tool. And just to go back a little bit, my grandmother was a stylist. God rest her soul. She had her own salon as well. So it's pretty much kind of like in in my bloodline, I guess. And then her ex-husband, which was my grandpa, he was a barber. He was a barber. So she gave me my first pair of clippers. So after studying the barbers, I was helping her clean her closet. When I cleaned her closet out, I saw the clippers, and this is after I'm, watching the barbers. And man, they were like some old 110s. I still have them, man. I'm gonna frame them and probably put them up.
Nice.
And I was like, can I have them? Now they didn't work. But when I took them home, somehow I got them to work, but it had a short in it. And my mom had this rule on Saturday. She used to work, so it was just me, her, my other brother at the time. Don't leave this house. Don't leave this house because I don't want to get in trouble. So our parents had to make sacrifices, man. But she didn't know that my grandmother gave me the clippers from a previous visit. I just
Mm.
brought them home and I was playing with them, and I was like, I know I can do this. And I would go back and I would come back home and play with the clippers. And then that one Saturday, I was like, I'm gonna try on my brother. And I tried on my brother, and when I say the cut came out like immaculate, the only thing is I didn't have any liners to like line them up, so I just kind of cleaned them up. But I gave him a little fade all the way around. And she came home, and she instantly got upset when she saw my brother's hair. She thought we had left home, and she's like, "I thought I told you not to go anywhere. I could get in trouble." And I was like, Mom, man, my mom was about to, man, I was in trouble. I was I was in trouble, man. And I said, No,
Yeah.
no, grandma gave me some clippers. She was like, Well, she didn't tell me. And I showed her the clippers. And she called my grandma. She was like, Yeah, I gave it to him, but I didn't know he was gonna go home and do that. And that's kind of how my journey started, man. And from then on, my mom was like, so that was my brother next to me. So my youngest brother was 4. I didn't cut his hair because I was just too scared. He was too little. And she was like, well, from now on, when you come home every other week, you can't go outside after you finish your homework. Cut the hair. You're gonna save me some money.
Nice.
So that's how I became a barber, and it just kind of over the years got my license, and here we are today.
Wow. I don't think I
Yeah.
ever knew you were into drawing like charcoal. That's so
No, I
cool,
don't think
man.
I ever told anyone. As a matter of fact, a lot of people don't know, except for my peers that I grew up with. They
Yeah.
know, but a lot of people don't know. I need to get back to doing that. Honestly, just barbering just takes up a lot of my time.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure, man. So, talk to me about CBJ. What does that name mean to you?
That's a good question. So first of all, CBJ is a name that I got dubbed back in barber school. Of course, by the time I started barber school, I'm in my early to mid 20s, right? And I went into barber school thinking I knew everything because I had been cutting since I was like 14 years old. And I started doing things in the school that we weren't supposed to, and I would get away with it. But the only reason why I would get away with it was because I would listen to my teacher. I would be observant. I would soak up the information so that I can be the best barber that I can be once I graduated. So they
Mm.
called me like the teacher's pet, and I was just like, I mean, he gets to do everything, but you guys are sleeping in class. So CBJ came about is when a lot of people were sleeping, I was really practicing. They were running away from haircuts. I was doing haircuts and some, doing designs and just creating with my artistic ability. And this guy in barber school, he said, "Man, I'm gonna do a flyer for you." And he took a picture of me cutting, and he said, cuts by Josh at the top, but the first letter of each word it stood out, and somebody said CBJ. He the only one that can come in here and do designs in school like that. CBJ, and I thought it was corny. Honestly, Hugo, I thought it was a corny name. I just didn't feel like CBJ fit. I
Sure.
was just like, okay, whatever. And so fast forward, I'm licensed and I started competing, right? Or I used to compete with like 20, 30, sometimes 40 people on stage at a time. And I
Mm,
noticed the trend, everybody came in fold out chairs. And it was always Joseph the barber. It was always like Kenny the barber. Everybody had a name, but it was like the barber at the end. And I wanted to separate myself. And not only separate myself, I started doing the chairs and putting kind of like theatrics with my presence on stage. So I said, I'm gonna call myself CBJ. And I was like, nah, I don't know. And my wife was like, go ahead and do it. And other people, like my clients, they, yeah, CBJ, they started call. So I started using CBJ. And it just stuck with me, man. I got my brother created my logo. Shouts out to him. He's the actual one that I cut when I was younger. He
nice.
created my logo and everything. And that's how CBJ and it means at one point, it meant my identity. I believe that is my identity in the barber world, but I don't think it's my identity as a person. You know and it's sacred to me for what I do.
Mm,
And as I've grown, CBJ, it means a lot to me in the barber world. But as a person, it's just like sometimes those titles can be. It's almost like a artist name or like a rapper name or something, unless they're using their real name, But it means a lot for what I do. But it made me who I am today in the industry. So I'm proud, man. I've done a lot with that name, so I'll never get rid of it.
for sure, man. I mean, you brought me back to those barber competitions. I used to be in the beauty
Yeah,
industry, and I remember going into those barber competitions, and they were fun to watch. And it was cool to get like either a free haircut or a discounted haircut because you were one of the people that were volunteering basically for
right,
the
right.
shows and stuff. So that was always cool to do. But talk to
Yeah.
me a little bit about those custom designs and razor work. I know it's a whole art form. How do you
Mhm.
approach that creative side of barbering? And what do you think? Why do you think that still continues to be a trend or popular to do designs with cuts?
Well, when I first started, it was out of curiosity, right? So, like I was saying before, I was always a barber, and I was an artist. I'm sorry, and so I said, well, if I can put the fading from my artistic ability on paper and canvas, then I could incorporate the designs as well. Because when you think of the fading, when it goes to when you think about the art and the canvas and the charcoal, you think of fading. It's pretty much the same thing. But then when you come to lines and the details, like drawing the eyes and drawing the nose and the mouth and even the hairs on the beard, that's where the razor work comes in on the barbering side, creating portraits and things like that. So they kind of go hand in hand. And I was scared because I just didn't know the technique, and I knew I could do it, but I had to learn the technique and softening the hair using like gel or shampoo, and knowing what kind of razors, different types of razors to make different curves and to create whatever I was trying to create. And then the process would be, it man, Hugo, it gets so how can I put it? There's different layers when it comes to designing. So we used to have theme designs. So I used to have to think of these creations with the wardrobe, and the hair had to match whatever the theme was. And then you had freestyle types where you just get on stage and you just had to. I want a competition. Just they needed somebody, and I just volunteered. And if I won, I didn't think I was gonna win. I actually won, and I was like, "Well, I'm from Texas. I just do like a Texas Longhorn, just out of my head." And I kind of pulled my phone out, and I won the competition just like that. But a lot of it is more intricate, more detailed with the
Mhm.
themes. And I think that's where I separated myself from, because everybody would just, you know, uh, they would come up with an idea trying to win just with the haircut. But me, I'm like, okay, I have the haircut, I have this chair, I have my name, my flyers are all in the chair, and they're like, okay, who is this guy? So it was a very thought out process,
Yeah.
and when it comes to those designs, you had to really be meticulous. And me being an artist, man, it was just natural. I was like, man, I can't stop until I create what I need to create and it come out the way I want.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So, I also know that you have a five-star reputation. I know that you're a highly sought after barber. I know
I don't
you've
know,
offered.
man. I'm getting kind of old now, man. These younger now barbers now.
Okay, well, I mean, from what I remember,
Yeah.
you offer special before or even after hour appointments, which I
Mhm.
feel says a lot about your commitment. How do you protect your energy while still going above and beyond for the people you are having as clients?
Protecting my energy, man, it's a lot. You know, in the barber industry, man, you deal with so many people, like different walks of life, personalities, and things like that. And
Yeah.
it used to get to me, so I just try to not to take things personal,
Mm.
and then also knowing that if I've done my best, I mean, I can't be too hard on myself. I can only do what I could do and allow God to, navigate everything else. I could just only do what He told me to do. Really exercise my skill to the best of my ability, the skill that He gave me. Just try not to look at the negative things, uh, just move forward.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the barber chair, I think, is probably one of the last places where men are actually vulnerable.
Yeah.
Maybe you can talk to me about what kind of conversations happen in your chair that people might not expect.
Man, when they say barbers are kind of like therapists,
Yeah.
I mean, it's true, man. It's true. And I may cut somebody for 5 or 10 years and they won't open up. And then one day it could just be like, man, I never knew this about this person. But that's the great thing. I feel like that's where I'm at in my career to where, it's more about feel like it's more than just being in a barber and just cutting hair. I'm there to help people, inspire, but especially men, man. We like you said, man, we need an outlet, So
Yeah.
it used to be uncomfortable to me, but then life hits and then, you're not the only one that's going through things. And it's like, okay, let's help each other. And me as a barber, I just feel like a responsibility, especially the young kids, man, just trying to help them navigate through things and what's going on in the world today.
Yeah, definitely, we can touch on a little bit on the culture as well, right? Like
Hmm.
how barbering is part of the culture. Do you ever
Yeah.
feel like you've had a person come in and they walked out changed? Like you genuinely shifted how their mind was set and maybe show me and or tell me a little bit about what happened there?
Yeah, I remember this one particular moment. This had to be about maybe 3 or 4 years ago. I was this young kid. He was a good kid. He was getting into some trouble, but that's why I say that's where I feel like I come in. And he just needed guidance. He didn't have a father figure. Not that I was trying to be a father figure, but I was just trying to let him know, as the young ones say, I didn't want him to crash out, because he was pouring all his emotions out. He become a young father. His mom wasn't letting, well, his daughter's mom wasn't letting him see his child. And I kind of went through a similar situation. And I was like, okay, I've been through this before. Let me try to walk you through this to try to, but I remember being at that age and the emotions were so high. You could take or listen to advice, but you just like you in that moment at that time. So at the end of the day, when I finished cutting his hair,
Yeah.
he kind of calmed down, man, and he just thanked me. He gave me a hug, and I was like, man, it's gonna be okay. You just take one day at a time. So that was one of those moments where I feel like he walked away refreshed. You could tell he was. I mean, of course, something like that, you're gonna have thoughts and things like that. But I feel like I pretty much brought him down to a level where he can think clearly and figure out his next move. So
Well, I'm glad you're there. I mean, when they say it takes a village, that's what they mean. It
yeah,
means it means having a good community, a good barbershop, a good, grocery store, a good everything
yeah,
to I mean, even working at a liquor store, I have a friend that owns a liquor store, shout out People's Liquor.
hmm,
They have regulars that go every day and they're an influence into some of these kids' lives, right? So, you know, everything is part of I think a village here that helps shape up young men and, especially when you're connecting to your life personally, like, letting them know, hey, it's gonna be okay. I think that's a beautiful thing, man. So keep that up.
yeah.
What was the hardest lesson for you as a barber that you had to learn?
Just any lesson, just
Specifically with maybe, like, running your own business?
oh man. The number one is not to move too fast. That was a lesson that I learned. So quick story. 2020 is when I opened my salon. So that salons by JC that you came to,
Yeah.
I left there in 2020. So it was like right after the pandemic when everybody came back. We're out for 3 months. And so just a little backstory. I started out. So I have suites. I have like mini suites like salons by JC. And I started out with four. And so my goal was in my business plan, I wanted at least two buildings with 13 to 15 rooms so that I can kind of still cut when I want to, but manage everything. Man, I tried to go get a second building after having four rooms, Hugo. And I'm telling you,
Mm.
the building that I had, now I had four rooms filled. I'm like, okay, let's go, let's go. Man, I went and looked at a building that had 20 rooms in it.
Oof.
20. Man, look, I barely was paying the rent, just barely getting my foot in. And the next thing you know, one person left, and then the bills were more expensive than what I thought. And I was like, man, wait a minute. So I looked at that second building. I'm like, nah. And God spoke to me and was like, nah, you're not ready. So he spoke to me just going in. He was like, how are you going to manage a 20 office building and convert it and do what you did with just a building with four rooms and you barely even know how to manage the room with the building with the four. And I was like, you know what? You're right. You're right. And when I say I was talking, you know, contracts and everything for about 3 or 4 months with these people.
Wow.
Like they thought, man, and then in the middle of that, that's when everything started happening. The lights cut off on me one time when I was cutting somebody's hair. I forgot to pay the bill, like, because
Mhm.
I'm used to just being in a suite, just paying my rent and just keep go. But then you have to pay
Yeah.
light bill, and you have all this other stuff, and so that was the biggest lesson for me. Is just like not to move too fast.
Yeah, that's a great one. Don't eat with your eyes, eat with like, eat what you actually can fill up your stomach
Yeah,
with.
and then take care of what you have.
That's
Just be
true,
appreciative of what you have and not move too fast. And he'll let you know. He'll let you know when it's time.
for sure. That's a great one. So, I know that the whole process was probably a challenge,
Mhm.
right? But, maybe you can start talking to me about how that affected or if it was connected at all to some of your more of your health journey that you started around that same time.
It
And,
was
maybe you wanna take us there and see, like, what was your turning point, or how did you find out that something was wrong?
well, actually, prior to the pandemic, so maybe 6 to 8 months before we knew what COVID was, we just thought it was another strain of the flu or something. I went to the doctor, and the doctor was like, your kidney function is a little off, but he said it's okay, but well, watch it. So I did the necessary things, changed my diet, got back in the gym, and I went back like maybe a month before the pandemic or maybe 2 months or so. He's like, your kidney function is good. I was like, okay, good. I knew what to do to keep my health and, stabilizing where it need to be. But during the pandemic, man, everybody was going to the grocery stores. Everybody was buying all the food, more food than they can probably eat. And
Mm.
I was just at home, man. At Salons by JC, man, they kicked us out. Not kicked us out, but in the state of Texas, what happened was TDLR, which is Texas Department of License and Regulation. The spread of the virus was running so rampant that they didn't want it to continue to spread. So by us being in close proximity of every client, they just say, hey, man, we're not working right now. Just shut your businesses down. We're not working. So I got my stuff out. People were laughing at me and they locked the doors. They locked
Wow.
the doors on us. And so I was glad I took my stuff out. We were out for 3 months. So I was able to work. A lot of people had their stuff in there. They couldn't work if they wanted to. And I'm being hard headed, Hugo. Like I'm not even lying. I'm driving, cutting hair with mask on, like everywhere in DFW. Bro. In the midst of that, I ended up having to open up my own salon, and that's where it came about. But when I opened it, I was like, man, I know I haven't been doing right. I've been eating. I've been at home for 3 months. I need to get back on track. So I went to the doctor. I kid you not, it was the first week of me opening my shop. I went on a Monday to get the blood work. I'm literally on a client cutting the next day, like 9, 10 o'clock in the morning. And I get a call and it's like, this is such and such from the lab. We need you to drop everything right now and go straight to the hospital. So I cut the clippers off and I'm like, what's going on? He was like, well, we only handle the blood labs. It's something with your kidneys. We need you to go to the hospital right now. So I ended up finished cutting him and I called my wife. I said, hey, meet me at the hospital. And at that point, when I got there, my kidneys were only working at like 11%. The crazy thing is I didn't even feel it. I didn't feel tired. I had no clue, you know? And then from that day forward, I ended up on dialysis. So you got to think, I just built a shop and got my blood work. I don't have anybody in the shop. It's me by myself. There's 4 rooms, but I have 3 vacant. So I need to get this filled so I can help, help with this so they can help with the bills and things like that. And I wanted to quit, honestly. I really wanted to quit. I cried and I was like, man, why me? And after that, I just, I had to really think about what was going on. I stopped my product line because I was doing that as well. I said,
Mm.
man, I really need to focus on my health, man, because all this other stuff is a distraction. Because if I don't have my health, I can't do anything. Man, that was the big thing right there. I'm just trying to figure out how I'm going to do this. And then,
Yeah.
it was heartbreaking, honestly.
Wow. And you had no idea, no like indication or warning about
No,
your kid?
it was no warning. And then remember what 6 to 8 months prior, they told me
Yeah.
that it was affected a little bit, so I didn't worry about it. Hence the reason why I went through the pandemic. I'm like, oh, I'm okay. But I guess I went a little too overboard those 3 months. And um, even when I got the news, I was just like, because I was working. I was like, I don't feel like bad or drained or anything like that. Like, I didn't know what was going on. So, and they told me 11%. And my wife came
Wow.
and we was in the hospital. I mean, we was in the room crying. I thought I was just gonna die, man. Honestly, it was the way they explained everything. And
Mhm.
I had to gather myself. But even through that, man, even through our dialysis, after 3 months, I don't know if you're going into another question, but after 3 months, God gave me grace. And the people knew that I had just got there. I told them the situation, man. They gave me like 2 months free for rent for me to,
Wow.
work out everything. So I was like, that was a reason for, God must, hey, that was him working the entire time. Yeah, man, I can go into it. It's deeper than that.
No, I mean, maybe you could talk to me a little bit about like what your next steps are now. How's your relationship with your body changed? And, how does that show up in the way you carry yourself now?
Yeah, my body did change. I lost weight. Of course, I try to watch what I eat. I'm a foodie, so sometimes it can be difficult, but I
Yeah.
wasn't like a
Right.
heavy drinker. I was a social drinker, but I don't drink anymore just because I'm so afraid. And then I need the energy to keep up with what I have right now, what I have going. So I
Yeah.
don't want to do anything that's going to impair me, like my physical ability or anything like that. Even for me to think, clearly, I don't need to be in a space where I'm not thinking the way I need to think to operate.
Mhm.
So, that's just one of my main focuses, right now, just trying to stay fit and I'm not the most fit right now. I need to get a little bit more consistent, but that plays a big part. So, I mean, I'm pretty sure everybody out there knows, they're thinking the same thing, but that's my
Yeah.
main goal right now. I went from 4 rooms to I have 13 now. So,
Oh.
I have 13 suites now. I just had somebody leave and I have what 10, 11 filled. So I'm still trying to get a lot of them filled. So that was the thing. Like He told me not to go after that. Well, he showed me not to go to that 20 room building.
Yeah.
He just told me, he said, man, don't worry about if you're going to get healed or when you're going to get healed. He said, just do what he said, finish what I told you to do. And so from then I knocked down one wall, and then the next year I knocked down another wall. And that's how I ended up with 13 rooms. So I got like the building I have like the whole half of the building now. So
Oh, wow.
yeah.
That's awesome, man. For those people who are listening, maybe we can talk a little bit about like what do you know what caused the kidney failure or damage?
Oh, man, honestly, I haven't told anybody, but even when back when we were doing things, I've been a diabetic for my daughter's about to be 25. So it's about 26 years. I found out right before she was born. So it's
Oh,
just,
wow.
I believe what happened was, and I've been disciplined, you're on and off, but my doctor told me, she's like, man, you still have your limbs, everything. Like for your age, you did good, you know. But I believe with the diabetes and the 3 months that we were off, I think that took it overboard. I
Mm,
think that really impacted the way my health was at that state and time, at that moment in time. Because I mean, yeah, I'm talking about, you have to think, man, when you're off for 3 months, especially barbers, you're thinking about, I'm on my feet 12, 13 hours a day.
yeah.
Uh, we're working like 6 days a week. And, I used to cut a lot of ball players, things of that sort. So I would get up at 5 in the morning, cutting at 5 in the morning at the shop, leave at like 8, 7 or 8. And then I'm driving to Dallas and I'm cutting more people, and I don't get home until about 11 or 12. And so it took a toll on my body, and I was tired. So the 3 months was my time to like say woosah. Like, but I went overboard. I mean, drinking mimosas in the morning, biscuits and gravy, just not really doing what I'm supposed to do. Cause I was like, oh man, I'm off. I'm taking some time off, man. And I honestly think that's what made the situation worse. And I
Mm.
have to blame that. I had to put that on myself, man, honestly. Cause man, I was chilling. I was chilling.
I mean, it's great that you take ownership and accountability. I think,
Yeah.
we have to sometimes step in and take that and admit to yourself because even I'm getting married next year.
Oh, congratulations, man. Yeah.
Thank you, bro. Thank you. I'm getting married next year, but I actually like this January,
Mhm.
I had started the year like the heaviest I've ever been in my life, the most close to the diabetic points that I've ever been in my life. I've always been pre-diabetic because I've always been kind of like a bigger guy,
Mhm.
but this year was the first year where it's like, all right, dude, you're like point 0.1 over now or point 0.2 over, which is, not like
Too bad,
alarm
yeah.
bells, but at the same time, it's not where you wanna currently be on track or, like, I was on track to literally just let my life get, like, a little bit more affected by that. So, it was like a wake-up call for me, and I've since lost 21 pounds, and I'm still working on more 'cause, you know this probably more than anyone. Weight journeys, I mean, they fluctuate and you have to be consistent. And I think a
Yeah.
lot of it starts with ownership. So, I admire you taking that accountability.
Yeah, man, and, congratulations on that. And then you just, when you think about getting older and your quality of life, your mind starts to change, man. And, when your mind starts to change, that's really where it's at. My heaviest when my daughter was in the room, in my womb, man, I was at like 290. I remember. I was at 290 pounds. So I had to
Wow.
make a change. But then it fluctuates, it goes up. So
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So let's connect it back now, or let's walk back a little bit and talk about how does your faith or belief system show up in how you do your work? And you've mentioned God a few times now, being there for you in your journey, but how does it specifically show up in what you do in the chair?
I've always been faith-based person. My grandmother and my mother always instilled faith in me. They instilled from a young kid, even though I was hard-headed at times, but I knew it was in me like, okay, my help comes from God. And I think it's just a will that I've always had growing up, not really having much, not really having much when you had to have faith. And having faith is, is giving up, not giving up is a part of faith. So I just kind of put all that together and I just start hanging with other people who have, businesses and not even business related, just having the faith to keep going in life because nobody's exempt from the trials and tribulations. It's just how you go about navigating it through. And I understood at a young age that you can't navigate and do everything by yourself. You can't rely on your flesh. You have to have that higher faith, that higher power to guide you. So no matter how hard it gets, I always understand the more difficult the task, the more that God wants you to trust him. So instead of me trusting on myself, you're gonna let yourself down every time. And I've been in situations to where I had no choice but to trust God after trying everything myself. And then when I give it to him, I give it to the good Lord, man, and it's just like, okay, it may not happen the way I wanted to, but it happens. But
Yeah.
prior, me doing it myself, nothing ever happens. Or if something does happen, it's happening the wrong way. That's been the faith. I mean, I got this faith over fear T-shirt on, and I just as I've gotten older, I'm like, okay, I believe that fear keeps a lot of people from reaching their heights, reaching their full capacity and what they're supposed to do, like their purpose in life.
Yeah.
And when you face your fear, you get up there and you realize it wasn't as scary, it wasn't as hard as people think. They're just fear based, And once you like stare fear in the face and understand, okay, you have this door to go in, you have that one to go in, you're going to be okay. But I think that's what, for people that are watching, I think that's what they should realize. Okay, you have to face your fear. It's just no matter what challenge that you're going through, you're going to have to face it in order to get on the other side. So I think that's what keeps me going, man. It's been like that since I was a kid.
Yeah, I think facing fears is different for everybody. I've
Mhm.
realized because there are folks like yourself, or I'm gonna throw myself in there too,
Okay.
who see their bigger picture, who know what their goal is,
Right.
and don't let whatever comes in front of you
Yeah.
get in your way. And then there's the people who focus on the fear, on the thing that's right there scaring them the most, and lose sight of their ultimate goal, bigger picture.
Right.
And I agree that to me, facing fears is just another opportunity for me to get better, another opportunity for me to like not be challenged by something in the future. Like,
Exactly.
like if I can get past this, I don't ever have to worry about it again.
Yeah. Yeah.
I already did this. And
Exactly.
so at least that's how how I see things.
I get
So
it.
I
I
wanna
mean, I'm right there with you.
For sure. So, what if you could leave your clients with one thing beyond a fresh cut? Because I know your haircuts are awesome and amazing, but if you could leave them with one thing aside from the cut, what would it be?
That's a good question, man. That's a good question. Man, a couple of years ago, put a picture up of I think I was either 8 or 10 years old. I had a Jerry curl. And I did a side by side with me at the current time. In the caption I wrote, if you were this 8-year old or this 10-year old and you knew the future for this guy on the other side, what would you tell him? And this is what I try to leave, especially with my younger clients. The world is not what you think it is at 8 or 9, 10 years old. It's not going to be what you think it is. You're going to have obstacles. Don't let that stop you from reaching, your goals and the things that you're trying to do. And the number one thing is have faith and have confidence in what you want to do. Because I was a kid, I was a chubby kid. I was always worried about not being I was always worried about not being popular, not fitting in. I wasn't a popular kid. And when I tell people that, they don't believe me because I'm so outspoken. But I didn't start really talking to people until I got into my barber career. But when I was a kid, man, I was ashamed of my weight. I was just ashamed of just not looking like the cool kids, not fitting in. And that kind of messed with me consciously. But now that I'm older, it's like, okay, that young kid, I'll tell him, hey, man, none of that matters. any of that stuff matters, and whatever everybody else thinks, it doesn't matter. What matters is to you. So that's what I would tell a lot of my clients. Hey, man, none of this stuff matters, and don't follow anybody. If this is who you are, if people laugh at it, let them laugh. This is who you are. If you want to, create something, if you want to go about your goals at a certain way, and they try to dictate or tell you you can't do it, or why are you doing it this way, don't let them tell you other than what you know that you want to do. I mean, things are going to change, but and then I look back at it now, and all the cool kids and the kids that were fitting in, honestly, a lot of them come to me, and a lot of them aren't really doing anything, not to throw any shade or anything, but it's just a testament to anybody. Like, okay, follow one for what God put in your heart and just be you. Just be who you are, who God made you to be. Because I was so worried about fitting in, and it wasn't out. Now that I'm older, it doesn't even matter. It didn't matter at the time. So that's what I would leave
Yeah.
with them.
It's a powerful message.
Yeah,
Thank you for sharing that. I think
no problem.
it's being who you want to be is so, I think, critical to your soul.
Oh yeah.
And I know it's tough when you feel like others aren't accepting of who you are. And I know that can be a challenge. A lot of it's because we don't understand. I mean, a lot of the people, insert blank here, the folks that are not accepted are the ones that are not understood. And sometimes I
Hmm.
think what people need a reminder of is like, you don't have to understand everyone.
No,
You truly don't.
no,
Like
you don't.
if you don't understand XYZ, it's none of your business anyway. Why do you care so much? Why are you so
Right.
invested in that? So,
Exactly.
yeah, man, that's powerful. Thank you.
Oh, no
Um,
problem.
talking about success, I feel you've had a lot of ups and downs in your career, but I want to highlight your successes, right? You're an established brand. You have a lot of wins as a barber. I think a lot of competitions even that you've won in the past. What exactly does success look like for you beyond the chair, beyond the cuts?
Oh, that's a good question. Now that those years have gone by, that was the most important thing to me, man. And I think it was deeper than just, it was beyond just competing and the accomplishments, the accolades and things like that. I had man, honestly, my back was against the wall, man. Like when my daughter was born, I found barbering, I kept getting laid off, and a lot of that, like when I was doing the things with you, that was motivation so I can like take care of my daughter. And um I was just, I knew I had a gift, so I said, well, let me use the gift to make a living for, my family. But then it went to like, okay, I'm CBJ and this, that, and the third, and it went to all these trophies, and of course I wanted to take care of my family, but a lot of that I thought was success. Just like, okay, I'm doing these competitions, and then right before I'm gonna open my salon, I'm gonna say about 2017, 18, I started to realize it. I was like, okay, you're gonna be like 40 years old soon. So like what you're doing now, it may not be the same.
Mm,
So I started thinking differently when it came to success. And I'm like, man, and as I see it now, the way we used to do competitions and the way barbering is now, man, nobody thinks of me now. The people that know me. And then dealing with health battles and things like that, it kind of put a lot of things to the back seat. But now I look at the quality of life. I look at my mother getting old, and I'm happy that I was able to do what I'm able to do so I can help my mom. I think that's success to me. Being with family, and now I value being with them or being at home more than just trying to go and make a living. Um, Man, me and my wife used to get into it all the time, man, because I was like, I'm gonna be home. I got one more, and then like 4 hours would go by, and she'd be mad, and it put a strain on my marriage, honestly, man. And but I wasn't doing it intentionally. It was just like, okay, this is an opportunity. God gave me this opportunity, so while it's here, I need to seize it. But I wasn't thinking family. I wasn't thinking, okay, this is affecting my daughter, because I would take her, I would get her, and she would be with me all day at the shop on a Saturday, and then we'll go to the movies, and I'm falling asleep in the movie, and she's like, wake up. So
Yeah.
now that I look back at that, it's more so like family, that's success to me. Yeah, I have to do what I have to do. Hence the reason why I opened a salon so I can kind of scale back. But I love what I've accomplished, man. I won't take any of it back because I learned a lot and it got me to where I am now. But man, just being with family and um really taking the time to sit and just appreciating the moment and the time with family, man, that's more important. That's success for me.
Yeah, it's beautiful,
Mhm.
man. Definitely. I think a lot of the times, like I think of my dad a lot
Mhm.
when you were talking right now, like just hard worker, someone that sacrificed a lot to put food on the table and a roof over our heads and made sure we always had the coolest Jordans or whatever we wanted. Made it look easy, right?
Yeah.
Because we grow up and we see, oh shit, this is not easy. What's going on?
Man.
But I think of that and I'm like, I know there's a part of him now because I see him as a grandfather now.
Mhm.
There's a side to him that I never got to meet, and that was that, like, caring parental, like, a good example of a man
Mhm.
that was present, and I mean, it's not his fault, it's not my fault, he was just, working all the time when we were younger,
Right, right.
but, like, now you get to see that side of him with my son, with my nephew, and it's a really beautiful thing when you're present for the family, and it does make a huge difference, and even myself, my dad will even say, like, "I want a job like yours where I get flexibility to work from home and,
Yeah.
to get to have lunch and hang out and actually, go to your son's games or do whatever he needs whenever he needs."
Mhm.
Like, those are just things that, like although now I feel like a fucking Uber driver, thank goodness,
That's
but,
how it is,
whatever.
bro. It's just like that.
Yeah, but, family is beautiful, man, so I love
Yeah.
that you found that. Now we're gonna do a quick fire. It's a new thing I'm gonna try with people, and I'm gonna try to do some quick fire questions related to what you do, and then you don't I hopefully don't think about it, you just kinda answer, okay?
Okay.
You ready for this?
Yeah, yeah. I hope.
Alright. Fade or taper?
Fade both because you have to do both. A
You
taper
have
is
to
a
do both.
fade. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Taper is a fade?
Yeah.
Okay, so whoever came up with these questions fired. Let's see. Alright. What's the worst haircut request you've ever gotten?
Oh man, it was called a Shanghai.
Shanghai?
Man, I promise you, this was like maybe a year before I met you. So it was this guy, he called himself being a rapper. And he literally had, please, I hope nobody take this wrong. I don't know but in China where they wear the little circle, I don't know what you call them. But he was
Okay.
going bald and he had a record label and he wanted his Chinese record label on the side. So he did a Shanghai with a ponytail and he had a Chinese logo on the side of his head. And I told him, "Hey man, don't ever tell anybody I did this."
What is the worst haircut you've ever gotten?
I've ever gotten a I don't think I've ever gotten a bad haircut, but a bad line. Somebody pushed me
Mm,
back to the backyard, man. I was mad. My line was just like at attention, like my line's supposed to be here, it's way back there. Yeah. So
yeah. What is up with the 16 guard?
what is up with it? I think it's
Yeah,
great.
like, why do you think it's become popular with the youth? You
Man,
bring it
because they're
up.
lazy. I think they're lazy. It's called laziness. That's all it is.
Nice. And what's next for Josh?
Man, continuing to build. Just to be 2 years of my kidney transplant. So this year, I got some things working. As you can see in the back, man, that was one of my things that I got into. Just getting back into sneakers, collecting like old '90s stuff. I've actually been on
Nice.
a podcast with unreleased podcast. I don't know if you mind me shouting it out.
No, yeah,
Um,
go for it, man.
yeah, unreleased podcast with JB Urban Plus. You got Soul Priority, and then you got Will, and it's a couple other people, on there. And we're on a podcast with Aaron Cooper, so he was like one of the designers who designed Scottie Pippen shoes back in the day.
Oh, wow,
So
nice.
I'm trying to put together, something like a proposal to see if I can collaborate or just to kind of bring some kind of awareness to kidney disease.
Yeah.
Maybe create a shoe or something. Of course, expand, my salon, and I want to get my products going back. It's just been crazy about trying to find a manufacturer because everything after COVID, man, everything changed. They don't People don't really want to deal with small businesses anymore because everything's gone up. They can't make money. So that's where I'm at right now. So
Mm,
yeah,
okay,
I haven't given up on it. I just stopped, but I'm gonna bring it back, man. I'm gonna bring it back.
for sure, for sure. So, okay, I do a part of the podcast where I use AI to generate a random question. Okay, just kind of like, actually, we didn't even talk about AI, which is kind of cool, I think,
Oh yeah, yeah.
because it's been a hot buzzword for a lot of the folks that I've been talking to. But I feel like AI will not ever affect a barber unless you find a robot that can cut hair and be a therapist and do all that shit, and that's
Man,
probably not going to
nah.
be around for a while.
Hell
The
no,
only
man.
cool thing about AI and maybe working with barbers is I could probably give you a picture or a sample of what I would want my haircut to look like.
Mhm.
That's probably like some good use cases. But anyway, I use this AI here, this AI tool to generate a random question. This is a random. I didn't think of this as not pre-planned or anything, and then I tie it to an emotion. So you have to answer the question based off an emotion. So the example that I always give is like, think about the moment in your career that changed your life, and then the emotion is happiness. You have to tie it to that moment and happiness. Like, what was happy about that moment, essentially.
Yeah.
Okay. So your random question is, what's the most unexpected place inspiration has ever struck you? And then the emotion is going to be gift or love. So what was the most unexpected place inspiration has ever struck you and it came through because of love or a gift?
You say a place, right?
Yeah.
Oh wow. Unexpected place. Man, that's a good question. I've been do I have is it timed or I had see
Yes,
because man.
you got 3 minutes. No, I'm just kidding. Take your time if you need it.
uh,
Magic of editing, I could cut this.
oh yeah, yeah. Man, I'm trying to think by inspiration. So I'm gonna speak recent within the past like 2.5, 3 years. I had to refine inspiration after my surgery. That's what I could think. I got tons of inspiration back in the day with barbering, but I think this is more important. It's more current. Just right after my surgery, just to have the inspiration to. So I'm gonna say dialysis. As crazy as it sounds, maybe 2023, it was dialysis. When God spoke to me, He was like, "Don't worry about if you're gonna get healed. When you're gonna get healed, just do it." So I was inspired to finish out what He told me to. So honestly, I was in dialysis. And after receiving the kidney, it brought me joy. Like I was happy. I was so happy because I did what he told me to do. And it wasn't just me finishing in the shop. It was me doing what he told me to do when it comes to taking care of my body, when it came to, like eating well and getting trying to get proper rest because when you're on dialysis, you're already drained. So the quality of life is already somewhat taken away from you. So I had to do what I had to do. And then um one pivotal moment is when I was in the salon and I was crying. I was like, man, how am I going to do this? And that's when he told me, don't worry about it. And I was in the hospital. And at that moment, I said, man, you know what? I went from 4 rooms to like 13. So he was preparing me for that kidney, man. So at the time, I had like 11, 12 people in there. So I was off for 3 months. And I realized at that moment, I literally started crying. I was happy. I was like, okay, so I'm able to be off and not worry about anything. So I would say that inspiration came from him telling me to, okay, just keep doing what you're doing. And I was like, man, I done put too much into this to just stop now. I'm not
Um,
about to just like let it go. And I didn't know how to figure out. He told me, don't worry about trying to figure it out. And man, I was sitting in that bed and I wasn't going to tell anybody. Nobody knew that I was on dialysis. And man, when I put that video out, man, I had hundreds of calls. Like even some of my family, cousin, I didn't know. I was like, man, and it was a guy that I grew up with. He said, man, sometimes you need to call and talk to people, man. We could help you. And I said, honestly, you know what, man? And respectfully, I don't think you could help me. He was like, no. I said, you know why? because only God could help me at that time. Nobody, not even my mom or my wife could help me. I had to lean on God. And so that's what makes me happy that I listened and I obeyed what he told me to do, man. And I have a different perspective on life now. So
So that was the I feel like, because I told you to tie it into love and the gift. I feel like the gift
yeah.
was your life back,
Yeah, yeah.
and I think when you're talking about the most unexpected place, dialysis probably is definitely not a place that we would expect, but it is where you decided to love yourself
Right. Most
and to put
definitely.
yourself first, and I think that that's a powerful message, man, because you never know when that's gonna happen, and I
Yeah.
hope that whoever's listening to this, it puts a little bit of alerts in their ear, and they're like, "Oh, I need to start taking care of myself
Oh
or looking
yeah.
at things," and man,
And that's
from
why I do it. I don't mean to cut you off, man, but that's why I wanted to do this, man. It's the reason why I did my interview because I was quiet about it and it was like, man, somebody can be inspired from this. So you just can't hold this, tell everybody or anybody about what I've done. Not you,
yeah,
but the goodness of what I've done. So that's why I was compelled to do it. So I'm happy to see if I could help anyone out there, you know.
yeah. From being the first person that cuts a young man's hair to cutting the hair of football players or ball players to opening up a space for other creative
Yeah.
barbers to be able to work. You've done so many things that are just making the world a better place, man, without you even knowing it. The first and only haircut I've ever gotten from you is still to this day the
Nah,
most
man.
influential haircut. I mean, honestly, I got the most DMs I've ever gotten from that haircut. It was
That's crazy.
definitely it was definitely a transformation, so I really do appreciate you.
No
You
problem.
know, I hope that you continue on your journey and know that I'm
Mhm.
rooting for you, man. Thank you for doing this. Where can people find you in the Dallas area if you're looking for a haircut or if you're looking for someone to just bounce ideas off of or talk to? I know Josh, you're an amazing person to just hang out with. So, I definitely recommend a haircut. But where can people find you online? How can they reach you?
So online IG, my personal IG is CBJ official. I've been having that for a while, and then my salon name is the Craft Salon Suite. So the name of my spot is the Craft. So it's the Craft Salon Suites, no special spelling or anything. And I'm on pretty much every platform like YouTube, um, Facebook and things like that. The address, I'm literally Hugo about 7 minutes away from the Cowboy Stadium. So I'm like
Oh, nice.
360. So I'm like 7 minutes away from the Cowboy Stadium and maybe 10 minutes away from the airport. So it's 3610 South, not 3610. It's 2100 North Highway 360 in Grand
Uh,
Prairie. So that's where I'm located, man. Been there about 6 years. So if y'all need anything, you can go to the website, the Craft Salon Suites, or you can hit me up on cbjofficial.com, which is still powered by Shore.
nice.
um, yeah, man, that's where you can find me.
Awesome, man. Thank you again for being vulnerable and being present here today. I appreciate you doing this, man. And I just want to end off the podcast the way we normally do, which
Mhm.
is we say, don't lose faith, lose fear, peace, and let your heart be light. Thank you,
Peace.
man.
All right, no problem, man. I appreciate you. Really do.
Appreciate you too, bro.
Yeah.